Your first science question. Maggots are the larval forms of which creatures? Beetles, moths, or flies?
Right. Well, not my favourite animal. I'm very fond of animals, but I wouldn't say I was particularly fond of maggots. I don't think it's beetles. Moths and butterflies. It's the chrysalis, isn't it? I mean, I'm thinking back to their origins. And I'm thinking of blue bottles, and I think they're responsible for maggots. So I'm going to go for flies.
Flies, the larval forms. Maggots, the larval forms of flies. It's the right answer. Good start, Angie. Daphne, what term do zoologists use to denote the locality in which a particular animal naturally lives? Habitude, habiliment, or habitat?
That's a habitat.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yep. One each, and back to you, Angie. What specifically is lowered in the medical condition known as bradycardia? Is it blood pressure, heart rate, or body temperature?
Well, I haven't heard of that, so it's going to be a guess, but let's see if we can make it an educated guess. Cardia, well, I'm thinking of the heart right away. So I think probably I'm discounting body temperature. So if it's to do with the heart, of course the heart pumps blood. I wish I could think of a derivation for brady. That's probably the clue here. Bradycardia. Look, I think I have to go for heart rate.
Okay, heart rate, and you're right to do it. It was the cardia unlocked it for you there, the link there to heart rate. And Angie was thinking about the linguistic roots there. What's the brady bit?
Slow.
Slow.
The opposite is tachycardia, which is fast heart rate.
Fast heart rate. And your second question, Daphne. What colour is the head of the male of the duck known as the common pochard? White, green, or red?
Gosh. Well, most of the ducks I've seen have had green heads, so that's what I go for.
Green for the common pochard. Other eggheads?
Red.
Red.
Red. Red. Common pochard. The male is red. Well, excellent, Angie. Now, correct answer here guarantees you a place in the final round. And this is it. Deimatic displays are performed by creatures for what purpose? To attract a mate, to ward off an enemy, or gather young?
Wow. Again, knowing a bit more about derivations would be good. I thought I did know a fair amount, but that's stumping me a bit. When you first mentioned displays, I was thinking of attracting a mate, and then I was thinking, when you mentioned warding off an enemy, that sounded quite good too. I'm not so sure about gathering young, but it is going to be a complete guess, this, but I've got to guess something. So I'm going to go for my first thought without any confidence at all behind this. It's attracting a mate.
Okay, that display there. Eggheads.
I think it's ward off enemy.
It is ward off an enemy. It's not that. It's the other one you were thinking of, Angie. Daphne needs to get this to take us to sudden death. Flying its first mission in 1992, what's the name of the fifth and final spaceworthy NASA space shuttle to be built? Discovery, Endeavour, or Enterprise?
Oh, dear. I'm not sure. I'm going to guess Endeavour.
Endeavour. And your endeavours have paid off. It's the right answer, yes. Back in it, back in the hunt. So it's all square after those three questions. It means, Angie, we're going to go to sudden death phase of the round and take away those choices. Which SI unit is defined as the force that gives a mass of 1 kilogram and acceleration of 1 metre per second per second?
It's because of questions like this that I wouldn't have chosen science for my subject. This is a really silly answer, but I'm going to say something. I mean, I'm thinking about, you know, movement, propelling forward, that kind of thing, thinking about cars, actually. Ignition?
OK. No, that's not the right answer. The SI unit in question, Daphne, do you know?
A Newton?
Yeah, a Newton. Daphne, the Burgess Shale one of the best preserved and most important fossil formations in the world is in which country?
That's in Canada.
Yes, it is in Canada, which means you have taken the round. I mean, we'll say most important fossil formations. I mean, what's it got there? Dinosaurs and things like that? Or is it
Dates from about 400 billion years ago. And it's early ammonites and belemnites and all the various things. It's in Yoho National Park.
OK, and that is in Canada, as Daphne identified. Bad luck, Angie. Got a lot more difficult there in sudden death. Would you both please come back and join your teams? Well, I must say that was a good start for you, Culture Vultures, in spite of the fact Angie did in the end lose the round. Was within a whisker of knocking Daphne out there. Not to be, though. It means you will be missing from the final round at least. All the eggheads are there. And we move on to our next subject today. And I wonder if this will suit you. Film and television. Film and TV. Who'd like to play this? Can't be Angie, of course, any of the other four players.
I think it's not for Angie.
Pretty well decided. Yeah. We'd pretty well decided this before we came on, and it's going to be Gail.
All right, Gail. And who would you like to play from the eggheads? Anyone apart from Daphne? She's already played.
Barry?
Barry, good. Barry.
Yep.
Okay.
Barry. OK, let's have then Gail and Barry into the question room, please. OK, then, Gail, choose whether you want to start or let Barry start.
I'd like to go first, please.
All right, then, Gail, here you go. In the TV series Biker Grove, which character was blinded in a paintball accident? Jeff, Spuggy or PJ?
This was quite a while back. I have to be honest, I don't know any of the characters. But for some reason or other, PJ's sort of jumping out at me. And it's a guess. I'm going to go for PJ.
PJ blinded in a paintball accident? Yes, indeed. Absolutely right.
Oh.
And played by...
Either Ant or Deck, I forget which.
I was hoping you were going to say that, because I'm thinking which one. Right answer anyway from Gail. And your first question, Barry. Sherilyn Fenn came to prominence playing the character of Audrey Horne in which cult American TV series of the early 1990s? Twin Peaks, Due South or St. Elsewhere?
I don't recall the name, and I've watched Twin Peaks and St. Elsewhere, but I haven't watched Due South. So as I don't recall the name and I haven't watched Due South, I will guess Due South.
Due South, which is where you might be heading after an answer like that. It's Twin Peaks.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, Sherilyn Fenn. OK, well, that's great start then, Gail. Get this, and he really is under the cosh. Which singer played look-alike relatives Josh Morgan and Jodie Tatum in the 1964 film Kissin' Cousins? Mick Jagger, Elvis Presley or Cliff Richard?
Well, I don't think it would be Mick Jagger. I know he's been in some films, but it doesn't sound like something to do with him. Cliff Richard was in a lot of films earlier on, around about the 60s, but again, don't think it's him. I'm going to go for Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley is the right answer. Yes, well done. Well, there we are. 2-0 to you, and Barry, as you know, you go out if you don't get this one right. Who played Rocky Balboa's opponent, the Russian boxer Ivan Drago, in the 1985 film Rocky IV? Was it Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren or Steven Seagal?
I think that was the linguistically challenged Dolph Lundgren.
Linguistically challenged? Why? Because of the accent?
He didn't have very many lines, and they were all monosyllabic, I believe.
OK. Well, a bit like his opponent, really. It's the right answer. Yes, you're still in it, but maybe not for long. Gail. The first series of Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, saw the main characters working on a building site in which German city? Berlin, Dresden or Dusseldorf?
Oh, I only saw the series very briefly. I'm going to go for Berlin.
Okay, Berlin in Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. No, it's not. Do you know Barry?
Dusseldorf.
It's Dusseldorf. So you need to get this to take us into sudden death. Barry, on the long-running children's natural history show Animal Magic, presenter Johnny Morris was regularly seen acting as a keeper at which zoo? Bristol Zoo, Chester Zoo or London Zoo?
I only saw one episode of this and I can't remember, but something is telling me it might be Bristol Zoo.
Is that your answer?
It is indeed.
Bristol Zoo. Other eggheads?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that where the BBC's
Natural History Unit was, yeah.
Yeah, Bristol Zoo is correct. And a bit like Daphne, got one wrong there, but managed to hang on into sudden death. Let's hope the end result isn't the same. Gail, first sudden death question then for you. Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class is the full name of the title character in which 2008 animated feature film?
Wall-E.
That is correct. Wall-E, or Wall-E, however you want to say it. But there we are. It's an acronym, as you can see, from Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class. Well, Barry, another question you must get. What was the title of the 1970s BBC variety show that was broadcast from inside a circus tent at various holiday resorts and often featured a dance troupe called New Edition?
I have a feeling I'm definitely heading due south on this one. I'm struggling to remember this. New Edition. Oh, I remember the group. I cannot remember the show. I'll try New Faces.
OK, New Faces, New Edition on New Faces. No. Other eggheads?
Seaside Special.
Seaside Special, Barry. Seaside Special. Hasn't heard of it. That's great news for you, Gail. You don't need to face any more questions. There you are. Waltzed into the final round, playing for £18,000. Would you both please come back and join your teams? Well, a great round by Gail there has evened it up. Both teams now lost one brain from the final round. Our next subject is food and drink. Now, who'd like to play this? It's Bob or Paddy. It's going to be you, Bob, and your love of curry.
I'll go for it. I guess that's going to be me.
OK. Didn't want to push you into it, but decided to play it. Bob, who would you want to play? Barry and Daphne have played, so it's Chris, Pat or Judith.
I think I'll take on Chris, if I may.
OK, let's have Bob and Chris into the question room, please.
I'm not Kevin, you know.
Well, Bob, I'm sure your gastronomic interests extend beyond curry. Let's put it to the test, your knowledge. Would you like to go first or second?
I'd like to go first, please, Dermot.
Good luck, Bob. Here you go. First question. Which foodstuff has a red-skinned variety called rooster? Potato, carrot or Brussels sprout?
Well, Brussels sprouts are generally green, at least the ones I've seen are. So I'm going to discount that. Carrots, of course, tend to be orange, but the reason I do know the answer to this question is that in a previous job I was responsible for potato plant health. So potato is my answer.
Fantastic. Yes, it's the right answer. Yes, of course. Red-skinned potatoes, the rooster. OK, Chris, what does the word canard mean on a French menu? Pork, duck or crab?
That is a duck, Dermot.
Yes, it is. Very emphatic there, Chris. That is a duck. And back to you then, Bob. Moat spoons were used primarily with which item? Tea, grapefruit or soup?
I don't know the answer to this. I'm going to discount tea. And I think I'll also discount grapefruit for no reason, and not convinced of my answer at all. I'm going to go for soup.
Soup, moat spoon used in soup. Would you be using the right spoon, Judith, if you were using your moat spoon for your soup?
Well, Pat has just told me. It's tea.
What does Pat know about it?
Well, apparently he knows.
Yeah, it is tea. So a chance for Chris to take the lead. Chris, in which country did the red delicious variety of apple originate in the 1870s? USA, Russia or Australia?
Well, it's not Russia. And the great apple from Australia is the Granny Smith. And since the Yanks like to promote everything to the skies and would call an apple delicious, I'll say USA.
By the way, you just can't give me the answer, can you? Your favourite whipping boys. It's the right answer, yes, USA for the red delicious. So it means you need to get this, Bob. Used in Japanese food preparation, what is a makisu? Is it a wooden ladle, an earthenware pot or a bamboo mat?
Well, I have to say, Dermot, that Japanese cuisine is something I know very little about. It's not something that I cook or something that I eat generally. You mentioned preparation, so I'm going to take a guess at earthenware pot.
OK, earthenware pot for makisu. It's a bamboo mat, which means those two wrong answers have cost you a place in the final round, Bob. Chris, you'll be there. Would you both please come back and join your teams?
Meet the Khan.
Well, now the Culture Vultures have lost 2 brains from the final round. The Eggheads have lost 1. And our last head-to-head now before that final round is sport. And who'd like to play this? It's Anne or Paddy.
That's going to be me, I think, Dermot.
Yes, certainly.
All right. Paddy stepping up to the plate, and you can play Pat or Judith.
You think Judith?
Judith.
I'll take on Judith, please, Dermot.
Let's have Paddy and Judith then into the question room. OK, then, Paddy, first set or second set?
I'd like to go first, please, Dermot.
Here you go then, Paddy. The Finnish footballer Sami Hupia joined the German team Bayer Leverkusen in 2009 after spending 10 years with which English side? Arsenal, Newcastle United or Liverpool?
Well, he had 10 reasonably successful years at Anfield at Liverpool.
It's the right answer, yes. Notable handball against Arsenal in the FA Cup final, I seem to remember. Judith, what term is used to refer to the motorised bicycle that sets the pace in cycling events such as Kirin? Is it Massey, Derny or Zamboni?
I thought first questions were meant to be easy. Kirin is Japanese, isn't it? Isn't it a Japanese invented race? I was hoping for a Japanese-sounding word there, but there doesn't seem to be one. Oh, I've absolutely no idea. I think it might be the Zamboni.
Zamboni. What a great name it is. But it's not a Zamboni, it is...
Derny.
Derny. It's a Derny. And what is a Zamboni?
The machine
Resurfacing
that
ice
clears the ice in ice hockey.
Ah, a Derny for the cycling events. So, good start, Paddy. In horse racing, over what distance to the nearest furlong is the Epsom Derby run? 1 mile, 4 furlongs, 2 miles and 5, or 3 miles and 6?
Well, I'm not very good on horse racing, to be honest, Dermot. I would occasionally have a flutter on the Grand National every year, but that's about all my knowledge. I've got a feeling, though, it's quite a short, fast race, so I'm going to go for 1 mile, 4 furlongs.
OK, the shorter of those distances there. Yeah, it's 1.5 miles. It's the right answer, yep. And 2-0 to you, so you need to get this. Judith, Elena Baltacha, who began 2010 as the British female #1 tennis player, was born in which country? Ukraine, Croatia or Romania?
Baltacha. Well, usually Croatians end in ik. I mean, IC, itch. And Romanians... there is a Romanian ending for surnames, but I can't remember what it is. So I think it's either Ukraine or Romania. I think it might be Romania.
OK, Romania for Elena Baltacha. You did that in unison, other eggheads there. I'll hit the desk there, I'm afraid, Judith. It's the wrong answer. It is...
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Ukraine. Oh, well.
From the Ukraine, and it means great news, Paddy. Don't really need to extend the grey matter much more in this round. Save it for the final round. You'll be playing in that round. Would you both please come back and join your teams? Well, this is what we've been playing towards. It's time for the final round, which as always is general knowledge. But I'm afraid those of you who lost your head-to-heads won't be allowed to take part in this round. So Bob and Angie from Culture Vultures and Barry and Judith from the Eggheads, would you leave the studio, please? So then, Anne, Gail and Paddy, you're playing to win the Culture Vultures £18,000. Daphne, Chris and Pat, you're playing for something which money can't buy, the Eggheads' reputation. As usual, I'll ask each team 3 questions in turn. This time the questions are all general knowledge and you are allowed to confer. And Gail and Paddy, the question is, are your 3 brains better than the Eggheads' 3? And Culture Vultures, do you want to go first or second?
I think we'll go first. We'll go first, please.
Well, good luck, honours, even after those head-to-heads. Let's see if you can clinch it in the final round. First question then, Culture Vultures. In which year was Prince Edward born? 1960, 1964 or 1968?
I'm pretty sure it's 64.
What makes you say that?
Because Andrew and Edward were both born in the 60s. 68's too late. And if they were both born in the 60s, they'd have had been born in the same year to both born in 1960. So I'd go for 64.
OK.
Sounds good, Anne.
Sounds good.
Happy
Okay.
with that, yeah.
Yeah. 1964?
1964. Loving the reasoning, Anne. It's the right answer. Yeah, well done.
Well done.
Very assured there. Potentially tricky opening question, but straight in there. And question now for the eggheads. The Burmilla is a cross between the chinchilla Persian and Burmese breeds of which domestic pet? Cat, dog, or rabbit?
Sounds like cats. We're all agreed on cats?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Okay, we think that's cat, Dermot.
The Burmilla is a cat, yes. Back to you, Culture Vultures, and let's hope you find this one as simple as you did that first one. The Christian Festival of Pentecost falls on which day of the week? Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday?
It's definitely Pentecost Sunday, isn't it?
I won't argue with that. That's not what I thought at first, but if you're...
What did you think
I
first?
thought Friday, but...
Pentecost Friday.
I don't think it's Wednesday.
Pentecost Sunday just sprung to mind for some reason. I don't know why.
Probably go
Never
with
heard
it.
of Pentecost Friday.
No.
Yeah. Go with that. Go with Sunday.
If
Okay.
you're happy, yeah.
Yeah, Pentecost Sunday.
Sunday. I see all contributing here. That one mainly from Paddy. It's the right answer, yeah. Sunday. 2 out of 2. Eggheads. Who took over from Tony Blackburn as the presenter of Radio 1's prestigious breakfast show from 1973 to 1978? Noel Edmonds, Bruno Brooks, or Dave Lee Travis?
I don't think I know. 73 to 78. It's quite a long time ago.
Not Bruno Brooks. Could be Edmonds, but I'd go for Dave Lee Travis.
I'm really sorry. I take 70 past
I
me
don't know
by.
either. Plumb for Dave Lee Travis?
Yeah, go for
We're
it.
going to plumb for Dave Lee Travis, but it's something of a guess.
1973, 1978, Radio 1's breakfast show was presented by Noel Edmonds.
Oh, dear.
Noel Edmonds. Well, I won't long remember Noel's reign as Radio 1's breakfast presenter. If you get this question right, there's nothing the eggheads can do about it now. Correct answer here gives you £18,000. What name is given to the groups of 3 or more cards, either of the same rank or in sequences, that players aim to create in games like Gin Rummy? Are they gloats, melds, or blinds? £18,000. One of 3 answers.
Never heard of it.
Gin Rummy.
I know it Gloat. There is a card game, I think, called Gloat.
Is there?
And you can go blind in a game of cards, but I don't think, like you bet blind.
I've never heard of any of these terms, and I was brought up playing cards.
Blinds. It's also blinds. You get blinds in poker.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something about
I
it.
think it's not. Hang on a minute. Gloats is to be brag. It's a game called Brag. I think that's just a red herring. Gloats. So I don't think it's gloats.
Okay.
What are gloats in that game?
There's not, but I mean, a game called Brag.
Right.
Gloat and brag are kind of the same thing.
Okay.
So I don't think, so I think that's just a made-up thing. So it's either melds or blinds, I think. I would go for melds, I think, down the middle.
Meld and meld together.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
it would be melds. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go for
Can I
that.
Let's have a crack.
Yeah.
Okay, right, let's go for melds.
Melds.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you have the advantage, even if you get it wrong. You're still very much in the game. It's appropriate. It's £18,000 on a game of cards. A gamble there, isn't it? I mean, you've been
rather.
guessing, gone down the middle. And it is the correct answer. You've won. Well, I must say, you worked really well together as a team there. It was very important. It just shows how important those head-to-heads were. That Paddy, you got through there, you brought something to the table. Gail, you were all talking together. You all, I think,